Fans have watched the Chrisley family reunite ever since Todd and Julie received their recent presidential pardon. Since then, one member of the family they've especially wanted to see Todd reunite with is his mother, Nanny Faye Chrisley. In a recent video, Todd shared her first appearance with him since his release. We're introduced to the Chrisley family through the USA Network series, Chrisley Knows Best. This includes Todd and Julie Chrisley, as well as their children. Another personality fans know well is Todd's mother, Nanny Faye Chrisley. With her one-liners and various antics, she quickly became a fan favorite among viewers. Back in 2022, the family saw Todd and Julie get convicted of a variety of charges, including bank fraud and tax evasion, and were sentenced to a combined 19 years behind bars. However, back in May, their time in prison was cut short thanks to a presidential pardon from President Donald Trump. Since then, fans have been anticipating seeing the family reunite, especially with Nanny Faye. In fact, as previously reported, Faye was expected to appear in the family's Lifetime docuseries even before Todd and Julie were pardoned, meaning fans were already planning on seeing more of her. Taking to Instagram, Todd recently shared his first on-screen reunion with his mother with fans. In the video, only Faye could be seen, with Todd speaking to her, teasing at what the conversation would be like. A caption read, "She needs Jesus." Todd starts off the video asking his mother where she is going. Nanny responded by saying she is going to her place. When Todd asks her to clarify what her place is, she adds she wants to go to Evansville, Indiana. As fans know, Nanny was fond of going to Indiana for its casino. Todd responded to this by telling his mother she needs to go to church, thanking God. Nanny assured him, I thank him every day. A bunch of times every day." To this, Todd shared, "No, you thank him for giving you the good health and a car to get to Indiana." Nanny pointed out she could phone her order, adding, "They'll come for me." Todd then asked, "What would Jesus do?" Nanny teased, "Go with me?" Todd then ended the video with the last word. Mama taking to the comments, fans shared their reactions to the moment between mother and son. Quite a few shared that they were happy to see Nanny Faye again, saying they appreciated her sense of humor. Some comments included, "Did you see Nanny Faye in Todd Chrisley's recent video? Make sure you come back to TV shows Ace for all the latest reality TV and celebrity news. The late summer heat in Nashville was just starting to simmer down, but something in the air felt heavier than humidity. The clouds hung low, as if the sky itself was holding its breath." Out front of the whitewashed Chrisley family estate, a black SUV rolled quietly into the driveway. It didn't draw much attention, no flashing lights, no crowds, no camera crews, just rubber on gravel. But the house knew. The porch steps knew. The creak in the old rocking chair on the veranda shifted ever so slightly. A chapter was turning. The front door opened before the vehicle came to a complete stop. There she stood, Nanny Faye. Hair set, slippers on, a cardigan draped over one arm. She wasn't dressed up, not like she used to be for cameras or brunches or shopping trips, where she'd casually drop her gambling winnings like loose change. This was different. This was sacred. She stepped down the front steps slowly, not because she was weak, but because something about today demanded reverence. She hadn't seen her son since the morning they took him away, since that moment outside the courtroom when everything felt like it cracked into splinters. She'd waved, smiled, even cracked a joke to ease the tension. But the pain in her chest since then, unmovable. The car door opened, Todd stepped out. He looked, not broken, not hardened, changed. There was a stillness in him that hadn't existed before. Not the performative calm he used to put on for interviews or to hold a family together under reality TV scrutiny. This was something deeper, quieter. They locked eyes. Not a word passed between them. Todd stood tall, taller than Nanny remembered, though he hadn't grown an inch. He carried something invisible on his shoulders. Time, perhaps. Or truth. Or the long, unflinching silence of nights behind cold walls. Nanny Faye didn't run to him. She didn't cry out or embrace him the way people might have expected from a Southern matriarch known for her fierce love and fiercer one-liners. Instead, she took one step forward. And another. Todd didn't move. His eyes glistened. But no tears fell. He waited. When she finally reached him, she looked up, really looked. There were lines on his face that hadn't been there before. Hair grayer at the temples. But the eyes? Still her boy. Her hand reached out, slow, steady, and she pressed it flat over his heart. Bay dump. The rhythm of his heartbeat pulsed against her palm. Strong. Alive. She nodded once. No words. Todd closed his eyes. She dropped her hand and turned back toward the house. He followed. Inside, the house was silent. The kind of silence that knew how to wait. Pictures lined the hallway, old memories frozen in time. One of Todd and Julie smiling in matching Easter outfits. One of the kids in the backyard on a summer day, water guns mid-fight. One of Nanny Faye, holding baby Chase, with a look on her face that said, "Don't you dare grow up without telling me first." They passed these moments like ghosts. The kitchen, once the epicenter of laughter, now hummed quietly with the scent of vanilla candles. Nanny poured 2 glasses of sweet tea. She didn't ask if he wanted one. He sat at the counter, same stool, same place. She placed the glass in front of him. They sipped in silence. The wind outside rustled the magnolia tree. After a few minutes, Nanny Faye rose and disappeared into the living room. She came back holding a shoebox. Nothing fancy, just cardboard and tape. She set it in front of Todd and sat across from him. He opened it. Inside, letters. Photographs. A broken rosary. A childhood drawing that read, "To Mom and Dad. I love you. I'm gonna be rich one day." Todd smiled softly. There were newspaper clippings too. Some harsh, some kind. Most brutal in their assumptions. She slid it across the table. Todd stared. It was him. Maybe 8 years old. A skinned knee, a wide grin, a missing tooth. He was standing next to a homemade lemonade stand. Nanny Faye in the background. Arms crossed, proud as a queen. He chuckled under his breath. His first business. The summer of 1983. Nanny Faye tapped the photo twice with her finger. Still, no words. The message was clear. You were more than your worst day. You were always this, my boy. The sound of the front door opening broke the spell. Chase walked in, hesitant, caught between manhood and a child's longing for home to feel like home again. He paused when he saw them. Eyes darted between his father and grandmother. Then silently, he walked over and hugged Todd, heart tight. The kind of hug that hurt a little, that healed a little more. Savannah entered next. She didn't rush in like a movie scene. She stood by the doorway watching. There was a guarded strength in her posture. Her year had been heavy. She had carried too much. But when her father stood up, she didn't flinch. He crossed the room. Slower than he might have a year ago. The distance between them was measured not in steps, but in headlines, responsibilities, and too many nights she had to be the glue. When he reached her, he didn't reach for her hand or try to explain anything. That evening, the sun dipped low. The house had begun to breathe again. Nanny Faye took her place on the porch rocking chair. Todd joined her on the swing. It creaked beneath him. Unchanged, like it had been waiting for him to return. At one point, Nanny Faye reached out and took his hand in hers. Her fingers were thinner now, but still firm. The same hands that bandaged his knees, that clutched rosary beads during his trial, that trembled only when no one else was looking. They stayed like that. Hand in hand. The cicadas sang. A dog barked down the street. Somewhere inside, Chase turned on the TV, volume low. The scent of dinner beginning wafted from the kitchen. Someone had started cooking. In a world where everyone had something to say, where headlines screamed and stories twisted in every direction, they chose silence. Not because there wasn't anything to say, but because what mattered didn't need words. Nanny Faye had waited a long time to see her son again. She didn't need an explanation. She didn't need an apology. Needed this, his presence, his heartbeat. The porch swing, the fading sun. Same cracked stone beneath the tires. Same neatly trimmed hedges that lined the walk up to the Chrisley family's front porch. But the energy, the air around it, felt different. The silence wasn't the silence of absence anymore. It was the silence that came before something. The silence just before a door opens. Inside the house, the ticking of the grandfather clock filled the space like a soft heartbeat. In the den, Nanny Faye stood with her back straight, hands resting gently on the arms of her favorite chair. Her lips pressed into a thin line, not with anger or sorrow, but with resolve. The TV in the background flickered through muted reruns, but her eyes weren't on the screen. They were fixed on the clock.